hopefully my neighbors don't think I'm crazy walking around here with my helmet on. I thought I'd do a little video here about what I carry in my ATV with me, as far as tools, any accessories and things like that, but mainly focusing on the tools, because you never know what you're going to get into. If you watch one of my previous videos, I had my rear brakes freeze up a couple times, and I was actually out of what I usually carry, and I'll go through that in a minute. If I would have had that, I wouldn't have had any brake problems. So let's just start. I always carry an extra gallon of gas with me, no matter where I go. It's always a good idea. Sometimes, yes, it can make the life and death difference. If you're going to be stuck out in the woods overnight, it's going to be minus 20 or something. You just never know. So, at least if you have an extra gallon, you might make it. You might not make it home, but you might make it back to civilization where you can go get help. What I carry here, and this is what I was talking about. This is actually not gear oil inside of here. What I carry here is methyl hydrate for the winter. And what methyl hydrate does is it basically displaces water. Yes, WD-40 displaces water too and lubricates. However, methyl hydrate melts ice. So I carry it in that bottle because I use it as a squirt bottle. So if I got to get it in a spot where I got a frozen pivot somewhere on my bike, like a couple weekends ago, I had this pivot here freeze for the rear brake. And if I would have had that, I wouldn't have had any issues. Little 12-volt compressor. These things coming, I can't tell you how many times I've used these, not only on my bike, somebody else's bike. Somebody else got a low tire or a flat tire, they ran it off the rim or something like that. Well, you can get out with that. And they're just, you know, simple little 12-volt thing. You can pick these up really cheap. And I don't know if I can get this out of here. Yeah, there we go. This little needle valve that it comes with, don't throw that out. Don't put it in your toolbox. Keep it with the compressor. And I'll tell you why. It may be for inflating, you know, like balls and things like that. I'll put that on later. However, if you get into a situation, if you go through the ice or something like that in a mud hole or a water hole, and you end up shearing this off, well, what are you going to do? Because now you can't keep any air in. Yes, you can. What you can do in that situation, if you shear one of these valve stems off, is take a bunch of tire plugs, shove them in that hole. Just make it nice and tight. Shove as many in as you can or as you need. Then take that needle, poke it through it, so that it actually can get air inside past those tire plugs, and you're able to get air inside of your tire. I've actually had to do this once, not on my bike, but a buddy of mine's bike. So, I forget where I picked that tip up, but that's a good one to keep on you. You know, just when you're ready to pull it out nice and quick, and make sure you kind of squeeze off the ends of the tire plugs. Tow rope. This is not an expensive tow rope. I got this at Princess Auto for like $4. You're not towing a truck, you're not towing a Jeep, you're not towing a car. You're just towing ATVs. This has got like, I don't know, a 1,500 pound brake strength on it or something like that. I wouldn't use it to haul a bike out of the mud. If you got a winch, use your winch. It's not like those neoprene tow ropes that the Jeeps use, where they can, you know, back up and just give them a good meter start and then yank the hell out of her. But this will get you out. And it's a lot easier on you and a lot easier on the bike if you're towing one of these instead of towing with your winch cable. Winch cable, when that tightens up, if you're going up a hill or something like that, it's just going to go snap. It may not break, but it's going to be some hard on you and some hard in your machine and your winch. But that has some give to it. Toilet paper. Laugh all you want, you have to have it. What I do to keep mine relatively dry in the back of the bike, instead of using plastic bags which seems to rip all the time, you cut off the top of a 2-liter anything bottle. Not saying that this is Pepsi, you know, no sponsorship there, but, and you actually invert it like that. So you cut that off, put your toilet paper down inside, and take that and invert it. Push it in. And where you're not going to lose your toilet paper anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. It allows it to breathe. I tried it with the cap still on it, but it ended up actually molding the toilet paper, and nobody wants to wipe their arse with green toilet paper. And I just keep it in the bike like that. Just kind of shove it right there in that corner. It doesn't move around too much, so. And that way, you know, it won't stay completely dry if you submerge your bike, but if you're splashing, or if you're, you know, you got to go for some tools or something like that in the back of your bike, and your hands are wet or whatever, it's not going to get all soggy on you. Liter of oil. I normally don't use this expensive oil here for to keep with me, but the reason I actually use this 1040 in one of my old race bikes. I use that, but I use in my motocross bike there, I use 530. But I like this little bottle here because, get out of there, when you pull this up, it's a spout. So you don't need to carry a funnel or anything with you. So that's always good to have. And I just keep it wrapped up in an old neck warmer, just so it doesn't get bashed and smashed around inside the bike. Last thing you want is to open up your toolbox and have a bunch of god-awful oil everywhere. Now for the toolbox itself, for the little tool bag that I carry with me. Circuit tester, I just had to buy a new one. Yet again, Powerfist Princess Auto. This was like $2.80. And if you're unfamiliar with what a circuit tester does, it's to see if you get positive power going through a certain wire. You can either pierce the wire with this little tip here, or, you know, I wouldn't really recommend that, but if you have to, you can. So it's just to test positive and negative. I always carry a spare belt with me. This belt has 5,000 kilometers on it. Good old Yamaha's got, in my opinion anyway, one of the better transmissions out there for CVTs. But when I replace this belt at 5,000 kilometers, this is the OEM belt, and I carry it with me. Just in case. I've never had a belt on any of my Yamahas, or that Kawasaki for that matter, that I had, break on me. But you just never know. You know, it's kind of a pain in the arse to get the belt off in this, because you got to take this whole foot plate assembly off, and then pull the belt casing off. Zip ties. These have gotten me and gotten several of my friends out of the woods. I have actually seen it was an older Pliers 600, and he popped the ball joint right out. Popped the bottom ball joint right out. And the only reason we actually got him out of the woods was we tied the two A-arms together with those, and kind of supported that end of the bike on another ATV, and then drove slowly out of the woods. But these things come in handy for everything, really. So always carry a good selection of zip ties. Carry the long ones too, in case you need them. These are pretty, you know, these are too thick, but I do have thicker ones. But make sure you're picking up a good quality zip tie. Alright, tire repair kit. Definitely carry one of these. And I always carry a spare spark plug too, just in case. You just never know. I mean, a 4-stroke's not gonna, you know, foul a spark plug, but, well, it might, but I guess if you get water in it or something, it might ground it out. Anyway, tire repair kit. A little bit of cement, your tire plugs, your little valve stem tool, your reamer, and your plug installer, and of course your low pressure tire gauge. This one only goes up to 7 psi, but you're definitely going to want to carry something like that with you, and a couple of these little things here too. Your valve stem covers. Over here in my toolbox, I always carry a whole crap load of them, just right in here, just in case. These little things are actually grease nipple covers. You pop them over your grease nipples if you're worried about getting them full of dirt or something, dirt or water. So, yeah, make sure everything's nice and secure in your toolbox. That's going to need new tape. Alright. And speaking of electrical tape, always carry this with you. It's good for repairing chafed or split wires or anything like that. And good for doing stuff like this. So always carry a small supply of this with you, for sure. Little socket set. You've seen me pull this out a couple times. Just a basic metric socket set. Of course, depends on what bike you have. Metric or standard, what you're going to need. Obviously, Pliers are going to be standard. But they do have some metric sockets on them, or nuts and bolts. And this one came with a good little selection of bits here too, and Allen key bits. So that's definitely good to have. That's all you need is something small like this. You don't got to carry a whole set with you, but definitely carry something with you that you know you're going to need, you know you're going to use. A little first aid kit. Try and keep this dry if you can. You know, not much to it, just a couple band-aids and things like that, polysporin. But you know what? Say you're working on your bike and you get a little gas or something in your hand working on it. Well, you know, your hands are more than likely going to be covered in gas or oil or dirt or anything, or all three. So you have to be able to clean that up good enough to get back home. So that's why I always carry a little first aid kit with me. This was actually off a funnel that I picked up at the dollar store, but I figured, well, it's a good little flexible funnel, so if I got to get fuel and, you know, the plug or something like that to prime it, or if I got to get more oil in there, or, you know, it's a lot easier than trying to tip an oil bottle there. So, you know, I carry that with me, and it looks kind of funny too. Just a couple rags here, more zip ties. Like I said, always carry a good selection of them. I got this other ratchet here too. It's got quarter and yeah. I almost forgot my math there for a minute. Yeah. Anyway, it's got both sides to it, so and it's nice and stubby too, so you can get it in some pretty tight spots. And yet again, another socket or another driver, just in case. You never know. And sometimes, you know what? If it's a cheap one like this, I picked this up at the dollar store for 50 cents. If anything, use it as a hammer. You ain't gonna bust, or you ain't gonna worry about busting up a cheap one like that. So yeah, like I said, it's a couple rags and stuff like that in here, and they're good for leaning down too if you gotta, you know, put your knees down in the dirt. Spare fuses. I got spare fuses, and I got, I don't know if you can see that in there, a little piece of shrink wrap in there. It's always good to carry stuff like that too. You know, I know your fuse box, if you have a fuse box, some bikes have breakers, but if you have a fuse box, you might need some extra fuses. Morettes. I always carry morettes with me. You split a wire and you got no way to get it back together. Well, worst comes to worst. They're not waterproof, but they'll definitely work for you. So, what else do I got in my goodie bag? Trail flag tape. You don't know where you're going, even with the GPS, you know what? If you're in an intricate trail system, put some flag tape up on a tree or something like that. I carry bright pink as well. It's bright pink. I don't know why. It was on sale, so I picked it up. But anyway, but you know, just make sure you're placing it in a spot on a tree or on a rock or wherever that you know it's going to be yours, because there's a lot of trail flag tape in some of these trails you go through. So little pair of cheap pliers. I think this came with one of my ATVs or something like that. Obviously they're not good quality, but they get you out a pinch or something like that, or pinch your finger, one of the two. And just a cheap utility knife, just an X-Acto knife or something. Yet again, this is all dollar store stuff. So I mean, it won't cost you to buy extra tools to go to the dollar store. Oh look, more electrical tape, that's good. Little pair of mini vise or mini channel locks. Sometimes you use your tools, sometimes you don't, but it's always good to be prepared. I don't know why that's in there. I have a full set, so I'll put that back in my geez, don't even know what I'm doing. little old toothbrush. That's good for, you know, if you got some parts apart or something like that. Say you take that screw out and you just want to clean it up or something, clean up the threads or whatever. So, and adjustable. You can see these all came as a little set, and that's just a ratcheting screwdriver. That one's empty. Yeah. And yet again, I think this is the toolkit that came with the Grizzly. See, they're all marked Yamaha. So, and that's a spark plug wrench. Sometimes if you have a spark plug wrench that you buy at a store, sometimes it doesn't work, because I mean, these things are designed to get into the spot where you need to get in. So definitely, if your bike came with a toolkit, keep it in the bike with you. So that's pretty much it. Of course, a lighter. Surprised that worked, to be honest with you. If anything, could save your life. You never know. You're out in the middle of the woods, you need a fire, gotta have something like that. So anyway, I'll clean up the mess that I just made here, and as you can see, this garage is just a friggin' disaster area. I'm in the middle of putting in that wood stove there, and I got everything pulled over to one side, and I'm going through my shelves, and oh yeah. So anyway, thanks for watching this video, and hopefully I gave you some tips or some pointers or anything like that you might be able to take with you when you go ATVing, or take with you when you go on an adventure or anything like that. So keep yourself safe when you're out in the trail, and we'll see you later.